During our last coaching session, we decided that your goal was going to be increasing student engagement by 85%, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to the learn phase where we kind of model the strategy that we're going to use in the classroom. So I came up with a checklist of student engagement through Pear Deck. And the checklist is just basically when you're using and creating the notes with Pear Deck, the different things that you're going to want. So the first thing is introduce the session with a relevant and relatable question. I modified our, is it hip hop or Shakespeare, to be more of like a Pear Deck friendly format. So I think we'll have that. Include visuals to accompany text information. Use video or website resources for self-exploration of content. Utilize different question types as checks for understanding throughout the PowerPoint. Allow for brain breaks every 10 to 15 minutes. That's just kind of adding more of those fun questions because 15 minutes is a lot for kids to be focusing on one thing, so just that every so often. And then just presenting the material with enthusiasm. So is there anything that you want to add or take off, or does it look good?
I think it looks good. I can't think of anything else that I would want to do.
Alrighty, so that's good. We're going to decide like what modeling type works best for you. You can have in a classroom with students, and that's where like we kind of do it back and forth kind of with students in there. In the classroom without students is kind of just like modeling where one of us would pretend to be a student and then the other, and then just kind of coaching you through that. Co-teaching is kind of where we teach together or kind of doing that side by side. And then visiting another's classroom, I don't think that's really an option for this because unless we ask Suzanne, since this was kind of her thing during the technology conference. And then just watching a video, but unless you really want to, then that's not always the greatest option because it's kind of hard to learn from video.
Yeah.
So which one of those would work best for you?
I think in the classroom without students, just so I can get like some practice time in before it's like, surprise, here are 15-year-olds. Yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable if I can work through all of the issues before the kids come in. And then they bring new ones, but you know, at least I know which ones to watch out for to start with.
Yeah, and then since it is that kind of tech-based program, it'll be nice for you to see as a student, as a teacher before we actually have students doing Pear Deck with it.
Be able
so
to
that's
see
a
what
good
they
idea.
see.
And then so would you be able to do modeling just sometime in the near future?
Sure.
Okay. Alrighty, so we actually decided to do the modeling today since we both have free time, so this is what we're doing. Alrighty, so you'll just go to joinpd.com, or you'll tell your students to go, and then you type in the code.
TXJA?
Yep, TXJAA. I'll ask you to sign in. Oh, there's me. Because then when the students sign in, you can see the responses that you can see actually matches up. So I'll hit, you'll go and you'll hit start class once everybody's in. It has the lovely slides, and you just go through it. And it says, think back to when you were 5 years old, what was your favorite movie? And this is a text response question. Ooh. So if you look at your screen, that's what the kids will see, and we can get the responses from them. And then from your end, as the teacher, you can hit show responses, and it will show up what the kids are typing. It doesn't put names until the presentation is over, but that would be a good tool for just kind of making sure kids are using an appropriate and also formative assessment. But this is kind of that interactive PowerPoint or interactive
so that they're not just sitting there.
For student engagement. And then you hide responses. So once everybody's done, you can move on to the next slide. It's like, those children theater. And then, I don't think the website works anymore for this, but if it were to work, it's like they can watch a video, and then you can have them answer questions about the video, and it's kind of giving that self-exploration aspect. It can be a video or it can be going to a website.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking for our implementation of the strategy that they can just go to like a biography about William Shakespeare and kind of do self-exploration that way. And then it's just more notes that the kids can see, and you can either have them make their own notes, or we can give them like a sheet of paper for them to be taking notes. But then you'll see that there's a multiple choice question and ask for responses. And if there were more people in here, you would actually see like all the different bar graphs, but that's pretty basic. And they have other different forms and types of questions with the paid account, but I don't have one of those. Well, I don't have a paid account, but with the trial. So we'll have more options in creating the Shakespeare background. Like you can have it where they're going to draw on a map to find Stratford in England, and then it's a timeline where they can match events and things, or true-false questions. So are there any questions?
Okay, so when you get to the end of the presentation, what happens in terms of, like you said, at the end of the presentation, it shows the names and everything. What else does it show?
So to get to that part, you actually have to close out of the actual presentation, and then you'll just pick up, you have to go to the Pear Deck website, log in and see you, and then you look at your presentations, and that's something that we can do once we have the student data, but it's pretty simple.
Okay. So with the free one, we have the option for short answer and multiple choice, and that's pretty much it? Or am I misunderstanding that?
And you can do the website exploration, and there's one more option that I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's something that when we sit down, we actually create a PowerPoint that we can look at.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, because I like the idea of the website exploration, because the Globe has that like 360 view of the stage. You can stand on the stage and kind of look around. That's really cool. And I do want to use this year. I want them to use My Shakespeare more, the website that had all the translations and the little videos and everything. So this kind of gets them into that mode of they're going to use that too.
Yes. All right, so now that you know about Pear Deck and our intended use for it, when would be a good time for you to be able to implement? I know we're finishing up To Kill a Mockingbird, so sometime next week probably?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, cool. So once we finish up the movie and we kind of have that kind of wrap-up day, then we can work on implementing the Pear Deck with the Shakespeare notes. I'm excited.
Shakespeare!
Oh God, not Shakespeare.